They know about what makes you tick.
It's an organized form of confessions.
It's organized in a methodical way, and there are copious notes and records that can be used ultimately to your detriment.
But it's confessions.
It is confession, but I would call it more like an interrogation. I would liken it to
they're cousins, though, right? I mean, confessions and interrogation. If they're asking you a question, I understand. Like you can ask people that have left religions of what they were uncomfortable with, because there was a church in LA called the Los Angeles Church of Christ.
Oh yeah.
And Los Angeles Church of Christ, a guy named Edward once came up to me, and I was introduced to it by a guy named Fernando, who was one of my groomsmen, good guy. And he says, come meet this guy named Edward. I go meet the guy Edward, nice guy. And he meets my girlfriend, and he starts asking me questions. He says, so when's the last time you guys had sex? And I said, probably 30 minutes ago, prior to meeting with you. And he says, really? I said, yeah. He says, you're going to hell. I said, what's your point? Where are you going with this? He says, well, I'm just telling you, you're going to go to hell. I said, I already know I'm going to hell. What's the purpose of me meeting with you? Like, I'm trying to see if I have a shot at going to heaven. Anyway, so we start kind of going through the process, and it was such a controlled environment. And Fernando was dating a girl, I won't say the girl's name, that relationship ended up very nasty because she was fully in, that he had to do certain things that he didn't want to do, that he was forced to do, that he did. Anyways, long story short, can you find out who was the pastor? Was it a guy named
Kip McKean?
Was it Steve Sapp or Kip McKean?
Well, Kip McKean was at the top, and eventually he would step down from leadership.
Right, and he came up and he said, I've been wrong. What I've been saying, one of the guys gets up. Actually, it's Steve Sapp. Can you type in Los Angeles Church of Christ and type in Steve Sapp?
But this was actually called the International Church of Christ, not to be confused, by the way, with the United Church of Christ, which is a mainline denomination, or the Independent Churches of Christ, which this group broke away from. So Kip McKean started this group back in the 70s with just a handful of people in Massachusetts, and at its highest point, it's estimated that there were about 250,000 members worldwide.
They had Hollywood, they had celebrities, they had actors. I would go in there, I'm like, holy moly, they got everybody.
Yeah, and it was all based on a concept of discipleship in which every member was assigned a discipling partner. And there was an ascending hierarchy with Kip McKean at the top, the one person who wasn't being discipled, and they worshiped him as a kind of prototype of the perfect Christian. And they also believed that every other Christian church was lost. Only their church.
The only way to go to heaven is through their church.
Under their leadership.
That's right.
And so when you see a Christian church that is saying, look, I'm not just saying that Christianity is the way. I'm saying that Christianity writ large is not the way. It is my organization that I run that you must belong to in order to be saved. And that is what Kip McKean taught until he stepped down. Now he has restarted recently, and he again has followers, not very many, and the ICOC, as it's often called, the International Church of Christ, is now greatly diminished. I don't know how many members, but I would speculate 50,000 or less. So they've toppled quite a bit. But when they were in their heyday, I was doing interventions to get people out.
I was talking to my friend. I'm like, buddy, I don't know. This doesn't sound like a good church you're a part of. He says, no, you don't understand. I said, all right. I mean, do your thing. But this is why I don't want to go to church, because of churches like this. They were very good, though, very organized, very systematic.
Very much so, very much so. And I once did a news program with Fox News, and producers for Fox News infiltrated in the late 90s the church in Atlanta, Georgia. And they actually were able to get recordings of what that discipleship was like and how they would talk to you. And specifically their training, and they're saying to someone, you need to consider leaving your boyfriend. They're telling a female producer at Fox, because he isn't coming along with the program, and therefore you need to get rid of him. And that kind of inner discussion that is not heard by the general public and not known when you become involved with the church is what really makes it tick.